How you doing?
We're back
It's like I haven't seen you in like,
again.
yeah.
We're just crazy, but like in the best way.
I don't know how daily podcast. Okay.
I know that's like
I
a
know how
lot.
daily podcast people do it, and it's that they don't edit their own podcasts.
Yes.
Be like they don't do their own social and they don't edit anything. So
Yep. They just say, I'm gonna talk and you can do the rest.
if you're wondering why I've got a little stir crazy at this point, it's because I literally have not gotten away from my computer in the past three
Stir
days.
crazy.
So,
We're almost done. We were almost there
yeah, it's fine.
until
Um, yeah.
hmm?
So
So
because
real.
my brain is fried, we're gonna we had audience input for this episode. So
Which I think is our first one that we're doing
mhm.
like this, right? Yeah.
I don't
We
know
love
that
it.
I said I was gonna use it for the pod.
It's okay. Well, I feel like it's kind of assumed
Yeah.
that, but we love that.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm Mackenzie. That's Bree. This is
Hello.
Read Between the Blue Lines, a hockey podcast. I am so tired.
We're still talking about hockey. The funniest thing is like I feel like we've talked about playoffs and everything so much that like it should be over. And we're
It's
literally
never
on day
over.
2.
I know.
Like we've watched 2 full games. That's all we've gotten so far. And I'm like,
Um,
yeah, we're in
yeah.
like June already.
Is an
Nuts.
update, by the way, from yesterday's episode, the Eastern Conference like playoff preview episode, we were talking about ticket prices in Toronto versus
And
Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah,
Montreal tickets are about $100 more expensive right now.
I believe it.
Which is crazy, but like happy for
But also
them.
like Toronto gets the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
Montreal hasn't had it in a while, so like valid.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm?
Oh my God, it has 264 likes. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like mini viral to us.
It's very viral to us. Also, the actual hockey team we were talking about in said post decided to comment, which
Yeah,
was crazy.
literally unreal.
The Winnipeg Jets responded to Bree's post about the Winnipeg
The
whiteout,
whiteout. I literally was sitting at
and we
work and I was
both
like,
shrieked a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, I was sitting at work and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I should probably like, make a thread about this. This is sick. And then I literally was just like, no thoughts, sat there typing it as we are watching, I think it was like before anthems or like right around anthems. And I just let it be. I sent it out into the internet and then like
Because it is
I'm
cool, and
in
I
the
think we've
show.
talked about it
It's
before,
so
but
sick. Like I actually would not that I'm like a Jets fan, but I feel like it's one of
no,
those
I
things
would
that we
love to
talk
go
about
there.
as
Yeah.
a hockey fan, like just experiencing that would be so cool.
I
Um,
participated in the
so
whiteout yesterday, if anyone saw my Instagram story.
I love it
I
from a
wore my little
distance.
white no bad Sophie squad
They like matched
combo.
everybody. Yeah. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Like every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to do that or be there.
I definitely
So I
think
put it on
that's
the
like a
internet.
bucket list item.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe
And then
the thing is, like, we both are working playoffs, so it's really hard to like go to
yeah.
another playoff game.
Also Winnipeg is not like close.
It's not like, oh,
It's
we're
not
gonna go up to
fully
Boston
West
for a
Coast, but
weekend.
it's
Yeah.
like middle of Midwest, at least further on the West Coast, but it was really cool. Shout out to the Jets. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You made our night.
Thanks, admin.
We were like, "Oh my God." Totally unexpected. But
So we asked you guys on Threads. Wow, that came out really weird. We asked you guys on Threads, for your playoff hot takes for this season, and we're gonna discuss some of them.
were there I didn't really look through all of them. I'm
Some of
hoping
them
there's
were
good
good. Some of
ones.
them are
Okay.
not super hot takes, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Hot takes in to those people.
Yeah. So
So
the first
valid.
one, speaking of Winnipeg, the President's Trophy and the Blues' crazy hot streak strike at the same time, and the Jets don't make it out of the first round. And then someone followed it up with, if the Blues can get solid and consistent traffic in front and can get Hellebuck moving side to side, they have a very good chance to surprise the Jets. And I think we saw that a little bit last night.
I was gonna say the one goal that was scored on the screened um shot
Mhm.
pretty much solidified that. Unfortunately for the Blues, they ended up losing,
It
um,
was a great
which I
game.
guess plays into their
Also, why
defensive
was there
play.
a
And
fight at the end of it? Like,
there's literally 18 seconds left, and they
I
were like,
wasn't
"I'm
paying
gonna
that much
start fighting you."
attention with like 30 seconds left because I was like, it's over. Um,
Yeah,
and then I looked down, I'm like, why are there gloves on the floor?
they. Who knows? Um, I. It is hard because like I am a um, firm believer in the President's Trophy curse
hmm
based on, again, recent memory and how long
I
it's
think it's
been.
been like 14 years since
Yeah,
Chicago,
so
because Chicago won
so
in 2013, so 12
yeah,
maybe?
but the stipulation is Chicago won a 48 game season. So the last team to do it in a full season, I want to say was the 07-08 Red Wings. It
Okay.
was one of the Red Wings teams. It's been a while.
So it's been like
Because somebody was
19,
like, yeah, it's
18
been a
years.
stretch. Yeah. Um, so
I always forget about like the lockouts, and I'm like, yeah,
yeah, somebody brought it up at work and I'm like, no, it's Chicago. And they're like, that was a 48 game season. I was like, oh, sorry. I was like, let me just go find the next 82 games. So anyway, I don't know if I will play into a role for the first round series because based on last night, I still think Winnipeg at least gets to the first round.
I
I
think
don't,
that the Blues are definitely going to put up a fight. I don't know that they're going to go
yes,
out in the first round though. Although I will say
yeah,
like the word that you said about Winnipeg yesterday was like the Winnipeg whiteout is one of the greatest traditions in playoffs or something. And
oh yeah, the
someone
playoff traditions.
responded to it and goes just like Winnipeg getting kicked out in the first.
I saw that. That was, yep.
And like
And
the
I was like, well,
juxtaposition of like
yeah,
that comment and the Jets actually responding was really funny to me.
I know the like
Um,
the two of them together.
but I mean,
They don't, I feel like they can't have in comparison to Toronto, I feel like
yeah,
they
it's
have a
not
little
as
bit,
bad.
yeah, like they've made it
I
past the first round.
I do think it's a hot take. I think that they are making it out of the first round. I think that yesterday kind of like cements that idea, and I think that the Blues would need to work a little bit harder because like the Blues I think can create
Yeah,
good offense and get past Hellebuck. I think that the issue is that their defense is lacking.
they have to maintain, yeah. Like they if they played the solid all-around game yesterday, it would have been fine, but there was a point where they were just completely in their own defensive zone and like the Jets just like I hate this is it's the most non-hockey term ever. They just ate the Blues up. They were sitting there in the ozone and just like the Blues were doing I want to say they weren't doing nothing, but they really weren't trying hard enough to avoid Winnipeg scoring, and that's eventually how they end up losing the game.
Yeah.
So maybe they learned from their mistakes in game two. I don't know, but I still think Winnipeg at least gets through round one. Although it would be funny and chaotic in the sense that they don't, but who knows?
Yeah. Um I we had a few people say like hot take the Avs are winning the whole thing and like I don't think that's a hot
That's not
take.
really a hot take. That'd be a hot take if they were like wild, like like if they were Montreal, like if
Yeah.
they were like the last wild card team they get in. That's not really. I mean, yes, but like not a hot take. It's like a
No.
mild take.
Um all right. I think Ottawa is making it to the second round. I
Okay.
think it's a lukewarm take.
It's still
Like I think it's very
plausible.
possible because like the
Yeah.
Leafs can't make it out of the first round. And
Yeah, and I
like it's a
think
pretty like we talked about it in the East episode if you want to go back and watch that. Like they're pretty evenly matched on paper. And
they
Ottawa's a
are.
very physical team.
And Toronto really doesn't have anything to match that, if that's what it comes down to. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be fun for Ottawa to make it through, but it's at the expense of the Leafs, which I think so if it was against anyone else but the Leafs, I think it'd be a different conversation. Like
Yeah.
nobody would be like, "Yeah, Ottawa can win." You know what I mean? Like if it was Ottawa Tampa first round, you're not getting Ottawa through
No.
that. You're getting Ottawa. You could get Ottawa through Toronto.
Watch, we're gonna get
But,
an Ottawa, Florida second round and everyone's gonna cry.
oh, wait, I had this realization last night. It sounds really bad to me. There's actually brothers playing in the
Yes.
Leafs Blues. And I was like, not Leafs
Jets
Blues,
Blues. Yeah.
Jets Blues. I'm mixing all my teams up now.
I feel like
And I
I
was like, oh my
heard
God.
that there were fans chanting, I think like Luke is better.
Yeah. And their parents were
Um,
there and everything. I was
which
like,
like
oh my God.
we've talked about that with like the Hughes brothers because they can only ever come together in a Stanley Cup
In the Stanley
final.
Cup final.
And like if I was Ellen, I wouldn't be able to do
See,
it.
but like first round is like low stakes. Like you
Yeah.
want them both to win, but like it's first round. Like,
Like it's
okay.
still
But like
devastating to
Stanley Cup
lose.
final, you're lose like that's no. Mm-mm. I think I'm so
Okay,
sorry I'm not showing
real
up. I
quick
can't.
tangent. Speaking of like brothers and finals and stuff, the Kelsey brothers and that Super Bowl, I
Oh.
I love Travis, like whatever. I think that if Travis had lost that Super Bowl, he wouldn't have handled it as well as Jason did.
Ooh, so that's a hot take.
And I feel like it would be
I
the
feel
same
like
thing with like like the Hughes brothers, where like
yeah.
I think Quinn would be able to handle the loss really well. I think that like Jack and Luke would kind of crash out a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
well.
I actually think that Quinn would like completely crash out, but he would never make it
Not like
publicly known.
yeah, and I think like but I think on the flip side of that, I think the Vancouver media would I don't want to say blow it out of proportion. They would run with that and then like the media here for the Devils would just be like, okay. It wouldn't be as again, it's
Like,
not a Canadian market, so they're not as serious about it, but it'd be flipped, I think,
well, no,
in that
because
case.
Luke definitely had like a baby crash out on the ice. You remember when he like was
He's
on
had
his knees
a
and was like
couple.
going like this with his
Yes,
stick?
he's
Okay.
had a few,
But like the
which
media kind
like
of ran with it as like a
relatable.
joke.
I know. That's what I mean. But
I
imagine
feel like if
like
Quinn did that, they'd be like, he's a bad
they'd be like, "Oh my God,
captain. That's a
he's
bad
done."
show.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
so I feel like he'd
That's
kind of
what I
have
mean.
to like,
That's like my first if I was a player and had to choose where I played, like all the Canadian markets would immediately be ruled out because like I would love to like I would it's amazing playing there, but the media scrutiny is just like nothing in like any of the American-based franchises. I feel like even well, sorry, maybe the Rangers
I was like, the Rangers get.
and probably the Bruins to some extent. Not
I
as
would
bad
say
though.
I would say Rangers and Bruins are the two
Yeah,
teams that are like and I think that's because they're
they
the
are.
only like American original six teams
Yeah,
that have been
are
good in recent years.
successful and relevant. Yeah. So, but yeah,
I
I
feel like
agree.
original six teams have like a different level of scrutiny on them for media,
Yeah.
but like the Blackhawks and Red Wings have kind of fallen off so much that like they don't, which
Yeah, it's not the
mm,
same.
I don't want to go on this whole tangent,
We can
but
keep going.
no, but like the thing that I sent you yesterday about, I don't remember the reporter, I guess they had breakup day for Detroit yesterday, and
Oh yeah. Oh, oh, I don't know. I was like, what did you send
Cam
me?
Talbot was like, "Yeah, I'm really looking forward to having Mrazek as my number two next year." Um, and then Alex Lyon is sitting there going, "Yeah, I never know what my future is like with like being the third guy," and I'm like, "You should not be the third guy."
Yep.
Like your stats were arguably better than Talbot's for most of the season.
Yeah.
And then Mrazek came in, had like what, one good game and then three
I
like
think that's
kind
pretty
of
much
really
it.
bad ones.
Yeah.
And then got taken out of the lineup, and then it was you and Talbot then for the end of the season, and
For
you were
this whole
still
yeah.
performing significantly better than Talbot. But
Mhm.
you in your head think that you're the third goal. Like what is being said to him in that locker room that
Yeah,
he's
I
like,
know.
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be here next.
Yep.
I want
But
like,
yeah.
listen, we all know that I love that kid. I need a team to take him and actually give him resources to have him do well.
You,
Because the
you
mental
know who needs
toll,
a goalie?
everyone,
Yeah. No, the person that came to my mind is Seattle. Like as a backup
him
behind.
and Joey, I think would break
That's
the
what I
internet.
mean. First off, they would be such a good like personality duo, but like they would like that would solve Seattle's backup issues, and then you'd have like
Lion
the like
and Decord together would break the
they'd be like
internet.
a better Omar Swayman.
Oh,
Like
that would be fun.
not on the sense of like how they're playing, but I feel like the internet would I would
But I want him
that's
to
my
be like a
I'm gonna
number
start that
one goalie
petition.
somewhere.
Oh, well, there's still an option for that. Plenty of teams need a number one goalie.
Philadelphia,
Yeah,
Carolina.
there's so many.
You could
Edmonton.
argue a lot of other places.
There's so many. But anyway, wait, now I want that to happen.
We should call Jess
I feel
Campbell and be
like,
like, hey,
yeah, can you be like, hey everyone, I have a really good idea for you.
yeah. Oh, another tangent. Speaking of Jessica Campbell,
Oh God.
I saw someone say that they want her to take the coaching spot at the
Oh, for the
Rangers, and I
Ducks.
was like, no.
Oh, I saw one for the Ducks.
I also saw one for the Ducks. I also saw a really funny tweet that was saying that imagine the Ducks hire Torts and they have to trade Cutter again.
No! Imagine I send him back. Like, well, sorry, I'm so sorry. You have to go back to Philadelphia.
At least he'll stay in Orange.
I know you never. Yeah, true. Like, you don't have to play here. And that was the whole trade for Drysdale, and then they'd end up on the same team. Could you imagine?
No,
Oh my God.
Just give Jamie back to Z.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Just
fine.
just trade them back.
Yeah.
Same thing. Oh my God.
Just
That'd be
stop it.
wild.
Ow. Just
Yeah.
stop it. Okay, back to the hot takes.
Mhm.
Austin Matthews will miss a key defensive coverage in Game 7, which leads to the Senators winning the first round series over the Leafs.
Interesting. This is this based on something that happened this season? Because I feel like
I
there
feel
was a
like that's just
game.
kind of like Matthews' destiny is to like screw up
No,
a
but
defensive coverage
yes,
that ends
but
the game really poorly for his team.
no. This is it's based on Four Nations. What was that game where he almost had? It wasn't that. It was where he almost scored the goal, or was it when the goal was scored? It was either him
He made a
scoring
horrendous
or the
defensive
goal.
play for the
That's what
OT winner for the
that's what I
final.
thought. See, I'm not crazy. I'm like I know it happened somewhere because I remember sitting there and everybody was like, "What in the world was he doing when that goal was scored?" So yeah, I mean yes, it's probably likely, but what absolutely sucks when it's, a game 7 because like the Leafs are always destined, I guess, to lose in the first round. They always go to 7 games. So it makes sense
That's
when
why I
I'm
think the
staying
Leafs
high.
need to win in like 5 or 6. Because if they go to 7, I think that the Senators are going to take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do you think the city of Toronto like burns down if Ottawa wins the series? I don't know if it's more
So
serious because it's
I'm going
Battle
to
of
skip
Ontario.
ahead to something that I just read.
Okay. Oh God.
They said
You make me
first
nervous.
they said first round, Jets, Avs, Kings, Knights, Canadians, Hurricanes, Lightning. There will be nothing left from the Leafs Senators game. And I was like, I feel like that's an accurate statement. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But
That's
also the
like
only hot take in there is that the Canadians are winning that series.
listen. See, that is a hot take, but
It's
also
a
still
very hot take.
possible.
It's possible.
Yeah,
You never know.
it's very possible. I don't know. If that's what happens, we have to remember that and come back to it because like
I will say
it would
the
be insane.
thing that is really interesting to me is like the Caps last year were the last to get in,
Hmm.
and then they got swept in the first round. Now this year they're the President's Trophy winners.
Nope. Jets.
Never mind.
They
This
almost
year
had
they're
it.
on top of the league.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
Won
they're
the
the
East.
first into the playoffs, is what
Yeah.
I meant. I'm so sorry. They're the first
No,
into the
okay.
playoffs.
Usually it correlates.
Because the Rangers were first into the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So, okay. Caps swept last year, last into the playoffs, won their conference.
Hmm.
What if Delululand, Montreal, last to clinch the playoffs? What if they get swept?
Reverse sweep?
No, what if they get swept?
Oh.
And then next year, Montreal wins the President's Trophy.
Oh. True. Even if they don't win the President's Trophy, just being on top of the East would be
Could
good.
happen.
It could happen. The only thing that sucks for them is that they're in the Atlantic is such a hard
Oh my God, yeah.
division. Like if they were in the Metro, they'd be sailing, but they're
Well,
not.
so speaking of that concept,
Oh, playoff? Are we talking about moving the way the playoffs work or
playoffs should be
changing them?
racked and stacked by points earned, not conference. So
Ooh,
after
this is
you
a different
crown
one.
your conference champs in the regular season, the next 14 teams are based on points and get in. Calgary has more points than the three lower playoff seeds in the East, but they're not in the playoffs.
Wait,
Which
so is it like top seed and then 16?
I
Or
don't know
like
how they're saying that it should actually be like played, but they're saying to get into the playoffs, you should
the
have
top
your two
14?
conference champions and then the next 14 teams.
Wait, I love that actually, because I want to say that checks out. Okay, so if you were to do that, this is actually insane. The top 14, the last team in would be the Blues. The there's a Yeah, Blues would have tiebreaker over the Flames because they also have 96 points. Devils and Canadiens would not make it because they're 16 and 17th. And then the Canucks are like literally right behind. So, I don't know how you'd match up the teams, but I kind of like that. Because then also you'd get, if you do that, you could get like an East-West matchup in the first round, depending on however you're matching that up. But it's kind of sick.
No, Calgary and the Devils would both make it in, Brie.
How
You still have 16
am
teams.
I?
You just take away
Oh,
the
six.
conference
I'm
winners.
looking at 14. Haha.
No,
That's
because you
why.
have the next 14.
Yep. I didn't do math correctly in my head. Okay, so yeah. But then they'll still have the tiebreaker over the Canadians.
I'm looking at like the league
Yeah, so
list.
okay, it works. Yeah, so am I. Uh, you said 14. I was like, yeah, 14. Again, brains are fried. Um, I
So
kind of
that
like that.
that was a good one. I mean, I'm a very big proponent that like something needs to change. Um,
Yeah.
and I actually want to go do some math real quick, so we're gonna be back in a second.
Okay.
Okay. So on that like vein, we're gonna look at what happens if you do a 116 matchup for the whole league, and then we're gonna look at
Mm-hmm.
what happens if you do the West and East 1-8, 2-7, etc.
Ready?
Yeah. We're doing the
I
116 first.
Yes. I'm really hoping these are all. I'm like looking through them and I think they're all right, but I feel like I was scrolling up and down, so it's fine.
I have it up
One.
too, so I can check you.
Okay, the 116, Jets Devils,
Mm-hmm.
Capitals Flames,
Mm-hmm.
Golden Knights Blues,
Mm-hmm.
Leafs Wild,
Mm-hmm.
Stars Sens.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Kings Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
Lightning Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Avalanche Oilers would be
Mm-hmm.
your eight first round matchups if you did 116s.
So you would definitely have a lot more travel, but I think what's
Yeah,
fun about this is that I feel like you actually bring in more viewers to like different
markets.
aspects of the market. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I also think because like we've gotten so used to the matchups always starting in your like time zone or however you
that's
want to
the only
reference
thing that
it.
I think is an issue. Because if you have like if you had like Winnipeg Devils.
Yeah, you'd be like, well, they're in Central Time, so they're not as.
Okay, so if you had like Vegas and
It'd
New
be,
Jersey,
yeah, that one's like rough because you're
like for
going
Jersey fans, it's like okay.
like the worst one on that schedule. Like we talked about this, I think it was when it was the Cup final, but like Kings Panthers would suck travel wise because you're literally going from the bottom of Florida to California on the West Coast, so that one would be rough.
Well,
But
I think they said last year that it was like the farthest between two teams between Edmonton and Florida.
yeah, the only farther it could get would be if it was Vancouver because they're literally on the complete opposite side, which I love those things, but I would hate to travel that, like when you're going back and forth and whatever.
Like I think you'd kind of have
So,
to give them like maybe another rest day or
yeah, it'd be like
something,
3 days between games instead of two, which would make
which would
sense,
mean
but
we're going so much longer.
yeah.
So but like also we could do like a 5 game series, the first few.
But I actually wanted to ask you about this because the AHL playoffs are getting started, and I love how they do it. I think it's theirs is like 3 games per series, and I think the next second series is 5 games. So if it's 3 game series, you have to win two. 5 game series, you have to win three. And then I think the conference finals and Calder Cup finals are both 7 game series. So instead of all of them being 7 game series, they start less. So it's
Yes,
easier
but I also think it takes away
from the
from the excitement of the seven
like.
game series. You
But I
also
feel like
lose
if you're
out
trying
on
to,
profit and it's a
yes,
business.
yeah.
So the
But even if
more
they were like five
realistic,
games,
yeah, I don't know.
but
I don't see
I love
them
the 7 game
decrease.
series. They're
I love
fun.
it, but
They're just long.
yeah. So then if you are doing it a 1-8, only some of the things change, but in the West, you have same thing, Winnipeg, St. Louis, Vegas,
Love it.
Minnesota. The things that change are you have Dallas, Edmonton, and LA, Colorado.
Ooh, okay.
And on the East, the only thing that stays the same is Washington, Montreal. And
Yeah.
it's
And then
Toronto,
it's,
New Jersey,
yep. Lightning
Tampa, Ottawa,
Senators.
which is crazy, and then Carolina, Florida,
Yeah.
which in a first round,
That would be crazy.
like Carolina, Florida feels like the
A
equivalent
conference final.
of like Dallas,
Yeah.
Colorado that we have this year.
Colorado. Yeah. Like it has like it would be your conference final matchup, but it's in the first round.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think I don't know if it'll happen. Like I feel like it'll be a way off until they decide to if they decide to change it.
Batman said he's not
But
doing it, so.
I know. That's why I said a ways off. But I do the 116 would be fun. I think just for the fact of like I know it's not probably realistic, but getting the cross coast matchups that you wouldn't get till you get to literally the Stanley Cup final
But
would be cool.
I think the exposure for like different markets would be nice
Hmm.
because I would argue that a lot of hockey fans don't know anything about the
Mm,
Blues.
yep.
Don't know anything about the Senators.
I'd argue that about the Jets too,
Yeah,
in the sense of like everybody knows they're there, but they're just like, okay, they're there. Do I know anything about them? No.
but I think what like I think also because like obviously inherently you play the teams in your division and the teams in your conference more than you play the teams outside of your
Outside.
conference during the regular
Hmm.
season. And I think it would be fun to have more like cross-conference matchups in the
This
playoffs
is,
because you would get more eyes on some of those lower market
hmm
teams.
I agree. This was my unpopular opinion. I have to find it. When they changed divisions for the 2021
The bubble
season,
year.
no, the following after
Oh,
the
okay.
bubble. It's like the second COVID season, but not like actually in the bubble.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When the
I
Montreal was in the West.
That's when they had the all Canadian division. So all 7 teams were in one division and they moved a couple other teams out to like make them even. I kind of loved that cuz like you you did have to play your I think it was like 7 games against all those teams every that whole season, but it was so fun to see like teams that you don't see in other divisions play other teams that many times. Like it was just to me it was just like, "Oh, it's different." Like now I get to see them. You'll never get that again in terms of them moving divisions and teams like that. But it in that sense, it was cool to be like you're getting a matchup or you're seeing more games of this matchup that you wouldn't get if it was a regularly structured 82 game season. So, to your point, yes.
I
But
think the other argument I saw a lot was that the rivalries don't exist as much when you have the East-West
yeah.
playoffs. But my thing is that like rivalries, yes, they're important, but I think that they impact the regular season a lot more than the postseason. Because in the postseason, it doesn't matter how much you hate that team,
Mhm.
doesn't matter how much you love that team. You want to murder those people on the
Yeah.
ice. Like,
Yep.
Okay, listen, I was upset about it yesterday too, but seeing Kale McCarr bump into Miko and I was like,
Oh,
oh,
I
my little
know.
heart. But also, that's his opponent
Like,
right now.
sorry.
They're not
Yeah.
supposed to be friends. It's the same thing with if like the Hughes brothers or the Hudson brothers or with the Shen brothers right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if like the Kachucks went up against each other, like you are going for blood in the playoffs and you can't be
Yeah.
nice to someone just because you don't know them well enough.
Yeah. You're right. Tell him.
Just like it'd be fun. Anyways, all right,
I
next one.
agree.
Minnesota and Vegas is going to be closer than people think.
Ooh. This one,
I just feel like it's not
I
going to be entertaining hockey.
no, and I think a lot of people are writing this one off as like the easiest series. It's like it's gonna be the least entertaining and I don't want to say the quickest, but like you know who's gonna win it. It's probably gonna be a 5 game series, whatever. I don't know if I want it to be closer than expected because Minnesota doesn't. They're like the Islanders to me. They do not play exciting hockey 95% of the time. And so, unless you're a Wild fan, watching them is kind of boring. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if it is closer than expected, I guess I'll take it, but I kind of want it to be like the games have to be exciting to me. Like I can't have it be like a blowout win for Vegas and then like Minnesota comes back, ties a series. You know what I mean? Like the back and forth of it. I don't This one to me is like eh, the series as a whole.
Yeah.
But you never know. I don't know.
Um, all right. So I have a Devils fan here. I
Okay.
wanted to clarify. New Jersey doesn't belong in the playoffs.
Ah, strong start.
Um,
That was what they clarified, or there is clarification on that.
no, the clarification is that they are a Devils fan,
Oh,
and
but
they are
that's the hot
saying
take
that
that they don't
their hot
belong
take
there.
is that they don't belong there.
Okay.
And I
I
think if
thought there
you're
was
looking at,
clarification
I
on
know,
that statement.
I think that if you're looking at any other season, you're right. But the entire
Yeah,
Metropolitan Division did not want to be in the playoffs this
this
year.
I was gonna say if literally any other team or two of the teams played better than like below average, they wouldn't have made it. But I also think who was
Like if the
someone was
Rangers
making the
played like
point
even a
that
fraction of what they
yeah,
did last year, like we would have actually like they would the Devils wouldn't have been in there and they wouldn't have
I
deserved
also
to be
think
there.
somebody was talking about how there was a thing because the Devils were the only team in the entire season to hold a playoff spot from day one to the final day.
Yep.
Again, they started their season really early. They were in Finland, I want to say it was for a global series. Nope, it was
Check?
I don't Czechia. It was one of them.
I think it was
Maybe?
Czechia.
Yeah, Czechia. Yeah, they were in Europe. Okay. Um, so they got the lead and they kept it. But everybody's like, how are they still in third in the Metro? And I was like, if you look at the 8 teams in the Metro, right? It's eight. Three of them are decent. The rest of them, I'll give some love to Columbus. Columbus, if they didn't lose like 7 in a row, they probably could have knocked Jersey off easily if they hadn't lost all those. The rest of the Metro is just like did not want to play hockey.
No,
And
and
that's
I
like the sole reason the Devils kind of just held on for dear life onto that third spot and made it.
like I think that they deserve it because obviously they were there the whole
They do.
season, but I think that they also have to like give a pat on the back to the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Blue
Mhm.
Jackets and like even
Like say thanks for letting me in or not
yeah,
giving
just be
me a
like
run for my money.
thank you. That was nice of
Yeah,
you.
like thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Because like if the Rangers had made the decision to fire Laviolette in December and pull someone else in, like
It would have
we
been
could
a
have had a
totally different
completely
season.
different situation
Mhm.
if Matt Barzell and Varlamov and Sorokin and Duclair didn't all get
Mhm.
injured in the middle of the season, different situation. If the Islanders didn't trade away Brock Nelson in the middle of the season, different situation. Um,
You could also argue maybe if Philly had a not goalie change, a coaching change a little earlier on, they might have had a better second half of the season.
Also, a goalie
So
change for Philadelphia
yeah,
because they
that's
had
true.
both
That
a
is that
better
too.
goaltender.
Um,
Like there were a lot of things in the Metro this season that I think definitely
it was
helped the Devils.
it kind of yeah, like everything went wrong for those teams that went right that made it go well or right for the Devils. You know what I mean?
But I think to completely write off that team as not
No.
worthy of being in this year's playoffs, I think is a hot take.
Yeah, that is. I agree. The way they again, I agree with the fact that the Metro is really weak and like when you look at the playoff field and the fact that five teams, both teams in the wild card are Atlantic teams, and those teams pretty much outscored like we were just talking about the two teams in the West, like Flames and Vancouver, both have more points than Jersey, and they're not in the playoffs. So everything kind of went right for them to get in, but that doesn't mean they don't deserve to be there, which
Vancouver
is
does
that's
not
why
have more points than the
do they
Devils.
not?
No.
Girl, I think no, they don't. They have
No.
90. No, that was because it was before the Devils played that last game of the season. Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
okay. I was like,
My brain's like
no, they
stuck in.
don't.
They did, and then the Devils won, and then I was like, okay. Um, but yeah, that is a. I'll agree with it being a hot take in that sense,
All
but
right.
they still deserve to be there. It's fine.
Last one.
Ooh, okay.
And this would be very difficult to achieve.
So it's a real hot take.
Final four, all Canadian teams.
Ooh.
It
So it'd
is,
be Edmonton, Winnipeg, Western Conference Final, Montreal, Leafs, Eastern Conference Final,
or Montreal Senators.
or Senator. Yeah, sorry, or Senators. I can't write them off.
Yeah. But like we have five
That's.
Canadian teams,
I mean,
and
it's not impossible.
it's not
It's
probable.
just very unlikely.
Like if
I think the
Edmonton
West
makes it
one,
to the Eastern Conference final, I'd be shocked.
the Western,
That's what I
yeah.
meant. Yep.
I mean, they could change. They can just decide to become an Eastern team. Go for it.
And you know what? They'd
Um,
probably win.
yeah, they probably would. That's, I think if you're looking at which is more likely to happen, the Western is still probably easier to achieve.
I'm done. I'm so
Now
sorry.
what?
I,
That was so sudden.
within the past 48 hours, I know seven couples
Seven,
who have
got
gotten
engaged?
engaged
Why?
in the past 48
For what?
hours.
What is in the air that they have to get engaged this season?
It was 80
Or this
degrees in New
season?
York
This,
yesterday.
yeah, okay, but like, you were
I
playing
don't
it the
know.
whole time.
I do not know. I'm tired of it. If you're
I
gonna get engaged, don't show me. I need a break.
I literally opened my Instagram and I'm like, oh, had a kid, bought a house, is engaged, love it. And then I'm just sitting over here like
Has a podcast.
vibing, yeah, watching hockey too much, and it's fine. It's totally cool.
I'm so sorry.
That's
What were you saying?
seven is wild.
I know.
Um, I'm saying if between the Western Conference and Eastern Conference, if you want them to be both Canadian teams, the Western is still more realistic
Absolutely. The
than
East
the
is the one that
East.
is like, first off, you need Montreal to beat the Capitals in the first round,
Yeah.
and then you need them to beat either Jersey or the Canes.
Yep. And then whoever, if yeah, you'd have to have
And
Toronto
then
win
you have to
over, or
have
whoever
Ontario beat
wins.
Florida, and that's just like either Florida team. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
So that would be sick. I feel like the TV, like the carriers of the games and like Batman would absolutely hate that.
yes, I also
If it's
think that
all four
like
Canadian teams.
I
But
wonder how many American fans stop
would
watching.
watch. This is my so this is also because I we're not casual hockey fans, but I when my team is not in it, I watched the cup final. I think the first one I watched was the 16 cup final. That was the first one I was like, I'm watching it. I don't care. My team's not in it.
I will say I
And
always watch at least like the winner takes all game.
yeah, like the one that they can win it on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like if I'm like on vacation or biz, like also
yeah,
like I'm the kind of person who I was on a cruise when the playoffs were happening.
I love it. You're watching them?
God, 3 years ago now.
Oh my God.
And I literally made them turn it on. They're like, we don't get
As you
service.
should.
Like, they're like, we don't get that
No.
channel. And I was like, you need to find that channel and put it on the bar TV because
No,
this
I get that.
baseball thing is not working for me.
Yeah. Um,
And then I
so
proceeded to
I
scream
good.
at
No
the
way. Did they do it?
Canes and Rangers
Oh, so much
and
fun.
everyone else in the crew. Like, because everyone else there was like definitely like a hockey fan, but they were
They
like
got into it?
casuals.
Yeah.
But then, like, by the
Um,
time that I started yelling, everyone else did too. And it was great.
so as somebody, I watch it anyway. So I feel like it depends on, I don't know how many people wouldn't watch it if it's only Canadian teams, but
I
also I feel
just,
like they have such big fan bases that it would, I feel like would make up for the fact I don't know.
yes, but when you're looking at like streaming and
The
like
ratings would
broadcast
suck in
numbers, like the
America.
ratings are going to be
Yeah,
bad. Yeah.
they would be bad, which is why they have not, you don't get a cup winner that is from Canada in the last 30 plus years, but I think it'd be sick. Like imagine, no, like
Do you think there's a conspiracy behind it? Because
wait,
Bettman came in.
yes, and I was gonna say how aggravating. Everybody's always like, "Oh my God, the American fans wouldn't watch." These poor Canadian fans who love hockey so much haven't seen a single one of the seven of their teams. Not a single one of them has been in a cup. What was the last cup final that had a? It has been Vancouver against nope Montreal, but we're not really counting that one, I guess. Before that, it had to have been Vancouver against the Bruins.
For what?
They're the last Canadian
Last year.
team
Last year.
last year. I okay. So before that, so it was Edmonton if you count Montreal in 21, and I'm gonna say the Canucks in 11 were your last ones from then to that.
But like they have
But
7 teams. We have
yeah, 20.
25.
But they're always like, we're gonna prioritize the American viewership. I'm like, but those poor Canadian fans that watch hockey and like are so passionate about it, why don't you prioritize them? They haven't seen. I would be more mad
Okay.
if I was a
Well,
Canadian hockey fan than
here's my question.
me here. Yeah.
Here's my question. If you are, say, like a Montreal or an Ottawa fan,
Okay.
and Toronto makes it to the cup final,
Oh, you're not cheering for Toronto.
do
The
you cheer
Habs
for
fans are
Toronto?
not cheering. Habs fans are not cheering for Toronto.
But,
I think I think morally to be
if
like,
it's
hey, I
Canada
want to
versus
see.
America in the cup final,
Yeah,
do you root for Canada?
I think, but that's how they would look at it. They'd be like, it would be like a Canada USA matchup, not Leafs
No,
versus
I
whoever.
understand that, but you're rooting for
But
the
yeah,
Leafs.
yeah, they probably wouldn't say. They'd be like, no, I'm rooting for the Canadian team.
But
But
I'm
yeah,
but I'm just
probably.
saying, like if you are a Canadian fan,
Where
let me know.
how far do your loyalties lie
Just like
in the team
leave us a
opposed to
comment
being?
and tell me if you're a Canadian, do you root for the Canadian team in the final, even if you hate them,
Yeah,
just because you want Canada to finally win a cup? Also,
that'd
I
be like,
swear if Bettman
yeah,
retires and that's the year that Canada wins the cup, the conspiracy
it
theories
would
are
be
going to
proven.
go, oh my
It's
God.
it
They're
is,
already bad.
but when you look at it, it makes sense.
No, it does.
Like it all kind of checks out, unfortunately, I guess. But
That's also the thing with like whenever we talk about expansions and they're like, okay, we're gonna go back to Arizona, we're gonna go to Georgia, we're gonna go to Atlanta. And I'm like, listen, I get that we should be growing hockey to the South, but also how about we give Canada 2 more teams?
yeah, I have thoughts. I so many thoughts on expansion when they don't need it, in my opinion.
I don't think we need it either.
Because also you don't have enough talent now to float four new teams that have to be good enough to, you know, not be like Chicago
But
2.0.
like, why not?
There's a why not, but they're all yeah, a lot of them like the one that I was talking about putting one in Houston. I'm like, for what reason?
You already have a team in Texas, leave it
For what
alone.
reason? They were talking about Quebec City, which again they were the Nordiques were there. They are not there now. They're the Abs. Um,
I want Connecticut to
but
get a team back. I want Hartford to have a hockey team
that'd be
again,
fun.
like an NHL team.
Yeah.
I think I think the issue is that there is a lot of talent in the pool,
Yeah.
and I think that once we get that talent into like the development programs, that's where things start going south.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are definitely like I think if you took like the Hershey Bears and maybe like which is so weird, but if you took Coachella maybe and made them like NHL teams, I don't think they'd be all the way at the bottom.
No, but they already are established and they have the
No,
roster, but
I know,
yeah,
but
I know
I'm
what you
saying
mean.
like there is a level of talent, and then especially if you start pulling in from other countries more.
Yeah, but also then like then you make the AHL people mad because then how where's the talent coming for your team to
Like,
supplement your club, you know?
no, but that's when you get the younger kids go into the
Yeah.
AHL instead of the NHL.
Oh, well, I guess yeah, you could just move the yeah, but then they'd have to switch that and I feel like
Switch what?
it is doable. Just the mindset of people being like you start here and then, which I feel like is done but not done often enough.
The other option is that
But
instead of like expanding fully, you make it like a relegation thing
I mean, you
where
could.
you like whoever wins the Calder gets to come up and then the team that gets
You play
32nd
a
in the
season.
NHL goes down,
Please.
which
Oh
like
my
that would not
God.
work. But like
Isn't that how they do it in soccer? Like
so I'm gonna be so honest with you.
English football
I'm
does the same thing.
aware that it happens in Ted Lasso
Yeah, so it's
and
soccer.
I think it actually happens in
It
soccer, but I
does. Because the team that Ryan Reynolds bought or whatever was really, really bad. And then it like got really good and they like move up divisions. Like when you get to play like the Premier League teams, which are like you're the best of the best, but like if you
yeah.
suck a season then you just drop down and you play the next like the lower one. Imagine if hockey did that'd be so funny. I don't
You
know
go
how that
all
would
the way
work.
down to an ECHL
Yeah.
team. Like the Blackhawks had a made
You haven't
ECHL
had
team by
yeah,
the
you
end
haven't
of
had a winning season in X amount of time. Goodbye. You're all the way down here. Get above 500 and then you can move up. Listen, that would have been someone put that in as their hot take. That would have been funny. That would have worked.
like it's they would never go for it. Like American sports
No,
just wouldn't do it, but
it'd be funny though. But
like
also that makes you as a team want to win and be better more and faster because you don't want to have to drop down whatever they call it, a section division, whatever you want to call it.
but also
So
it
like
would you couldn't use it as like a farm team anymore, I don't think, if you
no.
were doing that. So like it
Yeah.
again, I'm
Plus and
just
minuses. We're
spitballing
just we're just
because
thinking things up.
but so no, genuinely, if you are
A Canadian fan.
a Canadian fan, let us
Let
know
us know.
if you
I
would
am
root
curious.
for another Canadian team. Because like I'm wearing what I'm wearing right now.
I was gonna say it's like if America only had 7 teams and 2 of them were Rangers doubles and doubles made it to the Stanley Cup final. And then you're like, well, I kind of hate you, but I also want like a team from my country to win because we haven't in so long. So
See, but
like,
I feel like with that, the thing doesn't apply as much for Americans because we do have so many teams.
but that's why I said if it was flipped, like if you only
No, yeah,
had,
yeah. But I think also if
yeah,
Canada had won recently, it would be a different story. Because like if Canada won
yeah,
last year, I wouldn't care as much.
no, and I think they'd be
Like
happy they
I
got at
was
least one.
rooting, I was rooting for Canada to win last year just because I want
Yeah,
Canada to get a cup back.
hmm I agree.
And like depending on who's in the final this year, if there's another Canadian team and it's an American team that like I just don't care about, like I will
See ya.
probably still be rooting for Canada.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it also has nothing to do with like where I'm from. It has more to do with like
No, it's just like the
it's
fact the
Canada's
drought has
sport,
been,
and I feel
yeah,
like
that long and they deserve it. That's one of them, any of them.
well, I know
So
who might be getting a cup back to Canada soon. The PWHL.
that's what I thought you were going with. And I was like, You say that, and we didn't even put that on our bingo card.
I know because I thought it would be fun to keep it in America for the bingo card.
Let them, yeah, that one
But like Montreal's been
would also
so
be crazy.
dominant this season, and I think that
Yep,
if they can fix like the issues that they've been having,
they'll be
an
fine.
option.
They will have it.
And again, I like
Take it.
Corey's approach to like keeping it as positive as possible.
Hmm.
I have
I'm
to
gonna have to
say,
fight people where they're like, you know how this comes up all the time with New York sports. They're like, we haven't had a championship in like X amount of years, and I'm like, actually, the Liberty just won last year, so like technically you did. And I feel like,
Gotham won 2 years
yeah,
ago.
but I'm like, I feel like if the Victoire win the cup, everybody's gonna be like, oh, it doesn't count as like a cup in Canada. And be like, actually,
Well,
yes,
it
it does.
it
Not
doesn't
like
for hockey because it's a very
I know.
different thing. I think that it's really cool to have Montreal win. Also because like the Laval Rocket
Yeah,
is also it's like the first time that like Montreal's had
all
more than
three
like
of
one.
them.
Yeah, it's really crazy,
I love that for them.
which I love.
Pop off, go for it.
But like it is different. I think there's a difference between like there's a cup in Canada versus
Yeah.
my area hasn't won a sports championship in a while.
Yes.
Like because
But
if
I feel like I have to
Montreal went
fight people
around
about that.
and they were
To be like,
like,
hey,
"Oh, like we don't win anymore," and it's like, "Well, the Victoire right there,"
yeah,
and
like,
honestly, they'd probably be like, "You're right. How dare I disrespect Captain Clutch
yeah,
like that?"
like,
Um, but like in New York, it's like, "Yeah, we don't care," and I'm like, "The
yeah,
Liberty
like,
are better anyway."
stop. It's so easy. Anyway,
It's fine. But like the Walter Cup and the Stanley Cup are very different things. So I think if you're saying
they
like
are.
there's a cup in Canada, you're not talking about Walter.
Yeah, but that's where I'm like, you should be able to be like, oh, so which, like, ask, like when people are like, they say they're gonna watch a game, you're like, oh, men's or women's? Like, you should be like, oh, yeah, like, the cup came back to Canada, and I want people to be like, oh, which one? And I get to be like, well,
This
if
gorgeous.
it's
I want to
both, it'd be
see
sick.
Walter. I need
I
us to
know.
get to
It looks so
see
pretty.
him this season.
Yeah.
Nope, it's gone. Okay.
I hate that.
All right. So
Good hot
speaking of
takes.
US Canada, by the way,
I was just gonna say they
that
play
starts in a few
in
minutes.
like 40 minutes.
So not this will be up before then, but if you caught the US Canada IHF Women's Worlds, let us know what you thought. I don't see how Canada doesn't win it, but
No, me either.
I don't know. We'll see.
But
I'm so excited
that
for it to
means
be
we get the
over though because
I
we
would say
have the
we get the
PWHL Cup.
PWHL back. And I'm like, I love it. And I'm like, but I wish you did do it in this season. They're literally never gonna change that though, and I wish they would,
I
but
understand it, but just like it's frustrating.
I know.
And I feel like you lose fans because then you only come back for like 2 weeks before the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
start. So like, if you're like a Sirens fan, you're like, okay, we haven't had hockey in over a month.
Yep.
We're not gonna have hockey until May 3rd.
Like what do you do?
And
And that's the
then
thing.
it goes away because they we have literally one more
Yep.
home game for the Sirens.
Yeah, I think they have like 3 left in the season
Like
altogether, so
it's a
it's not
really
like
weird like momentum thing, especially going into the playoffs. It's like
yeah,
not that I
I know.
necessarily want them to like push it any further, like start the season or like
No,
expand the
but
season so it's longer and then do playoffs later, but like it's still really frustrating, like the scheduling with it.
yeah,
Like if they could make Worlds like a little bit earlier, that wouldn't be as bad. But I feel like
true.
having like 3 or 4 games and then going into playoffs is like kind of crazy.
It's yeah,
Like imagine having 4 nations and then playing
like
two
3
more
games.
regular season games and then
The
going to
playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah,
We
it's
shall see. And then
crazy.
next year's PWHL schedule is going to be such a mess
Yeah,
between the
it's
Olympics and
not.
Worlds.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's going to be so. It's fine.
and they still have rivalry series in there, so there's that. It's just
I feel like in a year
We're
where
gonna
we
have like
have the
one game.
Olympics and the IIHF
It
Worlds,
shouldn't.
we
I know.
don't need a rivalry series.
I like made my argument. I was like, I understand why it was a thing, but now I'm like, you get to see. I understand the U.S. Canada rivalry.
Yeah.
You still get that at the U.S. You still get that, yeah. You still get that at the Olympics, and you still get that at Worlds. And I don't think it's worth risking injury for those players when they have a whole professional season to play. Like, oh yeah, let's play this game like for fun, kind of, because there's no like real,
But also the amount of time off for, because also like
yeah.
it's the same
It's literally the same
group
roster
of
almost.
people who is
Yeah, it's
going to
USA Canada.
Worlds. Yeah. Like
And the
you're not switching it
international
up.
players, no, and the international for women's at least is there aren't as many international players in the PWHL yet, so it's not like a lot of teams are just like off because you just if you don't go to Worlds, you're just like practicing
Well, that's
here.
because if you're like I've seen like half the sirens, like Abby Rock, Elle Harchie,
Yeah,
Jesse Eldridge,
there's only so
like
many spots also on those rosters.
they're just all like in Disney. And
Hey,
I'm like, this is
yeah,
great. I'm so happy for you. But also like you have a month off from hockey and then you have to go because like they're not mathematically eliminated. They could still get into the
no, they're
playoffs.
still in it. Yeah,
But you have like what, 3 games left to do that and you're coming off of like a month of not playing.
yep. It's an interesting like setup, which is why I know like we haven't talked about it. Like I love men's worlds for the fact that like if you have a favorite player and your team loses, you get to see them play most likely,
Although a
usually
lot of them aren't going this year.
at worlds. Yeah. Um what I say, I love men's worlds because you get
Yeah.
to again, if you have a favorite player who doesn't play in the playoffs, you get to see them play at worlds if they decide to go for their country.
Yeah.
But theirs is lined up so that it starts when playoffs kind of start.
hmm
So if your team doesn't make the playoffs or they get eliminated early, you get to go. And I don't know
But the issue with the PWHL is that half those players will be in the
exactly,
playoffs because there's
like
only
they
six
can't
teams.
do that. But
Only 6 teams for a few more days.
yeah, I don't know. There's got to be some other way to schedule it that like eliminates
Yeah.
the weird. I come back in 3 games and then playoffs.
Which
I don't know.
just to end the episode, because we need to like get off of this call. There's a fun PWHL announcement coming
Oh
later
yeah.
this week.
Oh my God, we'll be able to talk about it when we come back. Well, not when we come back. Literally next week,
I
but
like I know it's official, but I don't want to like
yeah.
confirm until it's like official
We'll wait
official.
till like the official people tell you.
Yeah. Like I again, we know that it's happening, but
Yeah.
so
I'm like
keep
kind of
your
mad it's
eyes
taking this long, but
peeled for I think Wednesday.
I said Wednesday.
So, yeah,
Only 3 days from now. Well, when you guys listen to this too.
2 days.
Yeah. So exciting. Oh my God. I love it.
All right, well, that's our episode, and we're gonna go nap for a week, and then we'll see you. We'll see you next
Go
week.
nap and watch hockey and then talk to you about everything happening. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All
we
right.
love it.
Au
See you
revoir.
next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.